Oh, so I'm just supposed to okay, I guess I'm supposed to. Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by the sun of York. And all the clouds that lowered upon our house, in the deep bosom of the ocean buried.
All right, number one question.
There we go. All right, here we go. Hi.
I'm Brittany from Dusk Till Con.
Hi, Brittany.
Thank you so much for your time and being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So, my question for you is, what is your biggest childhood fear as far as, say, horror movies? Like, what is something that scares you? What motivates you, especially if you're doing something that is horrific?
What scares me, it's not as much horror. It's fear. The fear of failure. You know, that's the thing that keeps me going, because statistics said that I would be dead by between the ages of 18 and 21. So I just wanted to prove statistics wrong. I wanted to prove the pundits wrong, because I grew up in the projects, the inner city of Atlanta, Georgia. And, you know, I ran the streets, and I lost my mother at 18 from HIV-related illnesses and drug addiction, alcohol addiction, so on and so forth. So I just wanted to prove that, you know, to the naysayers that it doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen the way statistics state. So fear of failure, I would have to say. No Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger. I know them. I met them personally. They're good guys. So they don't fear me. I mean, they don't scare me. They fear me. Yeah.
Iron.
Yes, sir.
John Ferris, Dead, Buried, and Batman.
Yeah, of course. Good to see you again, brother.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Caught your show the other night. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about, obviously, you put a lot of your personal history into it, a lot of feelings, a lot of raw emotion.
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take you to put that show together?
I'll say I didn't put it together because I was a vessel. God used me. It took one night mainly to put the skeleton together. It was pretty much complete. And God told me to write it for so long. God was trying to use me, and I was listening, but I wasn't obeying. God was like, tell your story. You have to tell your story so that, do I need a mic? Should I pick this thing up? Okay. Is it too late? So God was like, tell your story so that you can inspire others. And I just kept putting it off. And I finally got to the point to where desperation set in a sense, because my wife was constantly paying all the bills. Not all the bills. I had about 8 jobs. I was doing theater, I was doing mascot work, I was doing MC work, I was waiting tables, I was, you name it, selling bi-weekly mortgages, I was selling long distance services and I was bringing in a fraction of the coins that my wife was bringing in, and she was still taking care of the bulk of all the bills or what have you. So I finally said, look, you know what? Let me go ahead and obey your word, God. And I started writing. And before I knew it, the next day was there and I had pretty much a whole script. And my wife, she got it. I showed it to her and she read it. And she was like, oh my God, I've seen you in several different plays and movies or whatever. She said, but this is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. She said, and this is just a script. She said, so I can only imagine what it's going to be like when you put it on stage. So she was all for it, like she had been in the past. A trooper throughout the whole thing, and had my back through it all. And so I wrote, direct, produced, she did everything else pretty much. She really put the music together, you name it. Whatever, and I wrote them because I was asking God, like, okay, how am I gonna complete this? I have 20 different characters in there in the show that I play. And I said, but I can't afford to pay, 20 people to play these roles. And so God was like, don't worry about that, I'll take care of that. And then it hit me, look, you've played so many roles in your lifetime, you can play all these characters yourself. So I started playing the characters. My wife came in and she did her part in the background, and the rest is history. Yeah.
Thank you, Austin.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Hi, IronE.
Hey.
Solo from WalkerNation.net.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you again. Hashtag T-Dog Flashback. Question is, on the show we heard about how the character of T-Dog drove the church bus, picked up everybody, but the elderly folks when the prophets went down.
Yes.
How important was it, that backstory to you, and how did it influence the way you played him?
Oh, that was nice. I thought T-Dog was just history. I thought he was a long gone memory. And when Glenn said what he said, I was touched to the core. I was like, what? Oh, I drove the van. Oh yeah, very nice. And but it said a lot about T-Dog's character, and I think that the writers took into consideration the type of individual that I am. I think they just kind of attached that, you know, that attribute or that task to T-Dog also. It was pretty cool. Just kind of laid out his story a little more, because a lot of people were yearning for, you know, more backstory, you know, on T-Dog. So I think it was good for the audience to hear.
You got to think too. If T-Dog didn't save Carol, they wouldn't have gotten out of that train.
You know what?
Throwing it out.
You know what? That's cool. I think you were saying that. I just saw Melissa. You know, we just embraced. I hadn't seen her in months or whatever, and she just said the same thing. I was like, wow. She said, "Thank you for saving me, so I could move on." And I need to work on my Melissa McBride impersonation.
Hey, IronE, this is Yardley from Talking About Walker's podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you, brother. I'm glad to be
You've been a
here.
great inspiration to a lot of people, especially youth. What's the most inspiring thing that a youth has said to you that you've been able to take with you throughout your life, personal and professional?
They've told me, to paraphrase, that I'm the reason why they strive and aspire, you know, and go on to want to be the best they can be. You know, and I've heard that in so many different ways, and it touches me and it lets me know that what I'm doing is not in vain, because I've dedicated my life to the betterment of humanity. And that's the most important thing to me. Again, it goes back to when my mother died. I was trying to figure out, you know, why I'm here on this earth. And God, I had a revelation, I had an epiphany, and God told me why I was here. It's to serve as a role model at all costs, no matter what. And not just for the youth, but for everybody, because even we as human beings, you know, we have our struggles in life. That's you know, nobody is immune to the trials and tribulations of life. So I just want to serve as a bright light for somebody that may be going through some things, you know, having some struggles in their lives. So, but the kids touch me, and they motivate me. Thank you.
Jump in.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Michelle with Variety Radio Online.
Hi, Michelle.
I'd like to ask.
Stop, John. I can't help it. I can't help. All right. Yes, indeed.
Now that Georgia's kind of the Hollywood of the South,
Yeah.
what are some ideas and things you would like to see happen for Georgia and the entertainment business here in the South?
More money. Gotta pay the actors.
From other.
Well, just from the industry for with, you know, me being an actor, you know, I just think that the actors don't get paid. You know, the pay is not comparable to what Hollywood actors get paid. And that was one of the things I wanted to do when I had representation here in Atlanta. And, you know, I met with people trying to make that happen. And I think that there's just, you know, a habit of doing business the way it's been done so long ago. And I think people are just happy to have productions here. But eventually, you know, as Georgians are, you know, being here in the South, we're gonna have to understand that our value is as important as the value as the actors coming in from Hollywood and LA. And we're gonna have to start speaking up and asking and demanding what we want, you know, because if we don't demand it, it'll never happen. So I think that's a big thing. And then pay all around for everybody that's making a contribution to the arts here in the South, and Georgia particularly. Go Dogs, sick 'em. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. I said
The game was a lot closer than it should have been.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh my God, we had them blown out by 32, and then they come back like that. But that's all right. Oh, you're from Tampa? Yeah. Got to learn to close out. Yeah, Tampa is pretty bad, Phil. Yeah, down there in Tampa. Rebuilding year, though.
At least we got hockey.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Yeah. Next. Now is the winter. Hey, you pause. I'm doing some Shakespeare.
I want to make sure everyone got their one question in, so.
Oh, good.
So what do you have, tell us about some new upcoming roles, upcoming projects, charity events that you really dig?
Yes.
Tell us about
Well,
what you got going on.
the biggest thing for me right now is my one-man play. And I'm pushing that. My wife and I, we're pushing that with everything we've got. My book, which my play is based on, Blind Side by The Walking Dead, constantly pushing those two things, and not so much focused on Hollywood. Like I said, I have, more interest in the betterment of humanity than blowing things up these days. And, I've gotten offers for certain roles, and that just don't pique my interest, like my one-man play, which again, to sum it up, the leitmotif is about truth and love, and, I give that more through my play than any other thing that I could do these days. So that's my focus.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, sir. Hi.
So I'm Matt from Zombies in My Blog.
Hi,
And I have
Matt.
a question about T-Dog. So was there any sort of backstory you were told by anyone from the writers or the crew that did not make it to the story, or that did not make it on film, or that possibly you were hoping that would make it explored on film?
Yeah, I think when I did my character work for T-Dog, he was basically a carbon copy of who I am as a person. So I used my backstory as T-Dog's backstory. Grew up in the inner city, ended up at the University of Georgia playing Division I football, but he was not a theater major. T-Dog wasn't. Would have been a little too dramatic, probably. So I just made him like a business major or something like that, and he became a blue-collar / white-collar type worker. He worked at a bank somewhere, or something like that. And it would have been great to have had that explored a lot more, but the thing about it was that it wasn't a T-Dog show. It was The Walking Dead, and T-Dog was not a main character, not even in the comics. So I was just thankful to have gotten what I got, and to have been a part of something so great and such a phenomenon these days. So.
Were you surprised when you were in Kane?
No, because when I was hired, they told me, Frank said that I would do 2, maybe 3 episodes. Forgive me for my hoarseness here, because I was doing a lot of screaming during my show, so, so I'm kind of hoarse right now. But no, I wasn't surprised. It said 2 or 3 episodes. I thought that I would die during the 3rd episode. I was thinking that, you remember, I gave the speech to the group when we were sitting around the campfire. I thought a zombie would come up and bite my neck or something. I didn't remember. We should go back and get Merle. But it didn't happen like that, so I ended up going throughout that season. We were in CDC, we were at the CDC. I said, oh my God, I'm gonna blow up in the CDC. And, I was just thinking all kinds of stuff. But I ended up, I was live then. I was like, wow, I made it through the 1st season. I said, T-Dog is not coming back in the 2nd season. I know what they're gonna say. There's gonna be like they're gonna sum it up at the beginning, 1st episode, first few lines. What happened to T-Dog? It's terrible what those zombies did to him in that van. But then I got the call, like, we're gonna start shooting in such and such a time. I was like, raise the roof, baby. So, and then I ended up going to season 3. So it was a blessing. So no, I was not shocked. So when Glenn called me, Glenn Mazzara, who's the showrunner at that time, when he called me and told me that T-Dog's time has come to an end, I was like, wasn't shocked, sad, but wasn't shocked and thankful, overwhelmingly thankful just for that time that I had. So yeah, thank you.
Now,
Yes, sir.
do you think they kept T-Dog around because of your acting talent, or because the character was built so strong? I mean, how do you feel about that?
Well, I wrote a lot of checks to different people higher up. Now, I don't. No, It paid off. Literally paid off. It literally paid off, right. I would have to say that Frank came to me during the first episode of season 2, and we were just sitting on the hot roadway, you know, in between setups. And he said, man, you've been doing a phenomenal job. I thought you would be dead during the first season. He said, but I'm looking at your work and I'm like, man, I can't kill this guy off. So I would have to say I attribute it to his talent, and more so, yes.
Got time for one more.
Okay.
I'll throw one in there.
Yes.
Franklin
I'm
and
sorry.
Bash.
Yes.
Franklin and Bash is totally opposite of Walking Dead. What did you really enjoy being there on that casting crew? Because they seem like they're a mess.
They're a good mess. They're a good messy bunch. I worked with them in the pilot episode in Atlanta. And so the producers, they called me back to be a judge on the show. Because I started out, they were like, wow, you've gotten a promotion. You started out as a janitor on the show. And that was 2009. And then I came back just a few months ago, and I played a judge on the show. And that was what I wanted. I wanted to show my range as an actor. And I guess it's a testament to how they feel about me and the experience they had with me on the set during the pilot episode when we were shooting it. But it was a great experience, and I got to preside over a case that was taken on by Mark Paul, Breckenmeyer. They're great people over there. Yeah.
Thank you, Iron.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Love you all. Love you.